on Cardinals Today, presented by Prize Picks. We got so much news to talk about on Brendan Sorsby and the link to the Arizona Cardinals. First of all, breaking news, there will be an NFL draft in July, the supplemental draft. I'll tell you how that works. Then, who is Brendan Sorsby? Is he a good quarterback? Is he a player the Cardinals should be considering drafting this July? And what's his value? All that and more coming up on today's show. You're in the right place, Cardinals fans. So hit that sell button if you're ready to talk Cardinals football. So the report that we just got is the breaking news that quarterback Brendan Sorsby is applying to enter the NFL supplemental draft, sources tell NFL Network. And he's had some legal wrangling about his NCAA eligibility. Sorsby, though, regarded as a first-round talent, now could be the highest drafted supplemental pick in decades. Remember, the Cardinals were benefiting from the NFL supplemental draft. They made the last pick 6 years ago, 7 years ago now. It was Jalen Thompson in that supplemental draft. Remember, Brendan Sorsby was in a lot of trouble, quote unquote. We heard from Pete Thamel that the Texas Tech transfer, Brendan Sorsby, checked into a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. Okay, and he went under NCAA investigation in the wake of the discovery that Sorsby made thousands of bets via a gambling app. So let's flash back a little to what the issue with Sorsby was, and then we'll talk supplemental draft, him as a player, and his fit in Arizona. It was a big deal. Sorsby placed 40-plus bets on his own team in Indiana. And then he wagered over $90,000 over 4 years and continued to make bets after transferring to Texas Tech. It was a problem. And it was an even bigger problem when you think about what he was betting on. I mean, he wagered on MLB, UFC, tennis, Romanian soccer, Turkish basketball, and even the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I mean, Sorsby, it sounds like an addiction, for real. And that's why he got so serious. He had to go enter treatment, and it seemed like he wasn't going to be able to play in college football. A judge ruled that he could and would serve a 2-game suspension, but that court case felt like it was going to go too long, drag on too hard, and he was just like, you know what? I'm going to go to the NFL instead. An NFC executive, when you talk about how good of a player Sorsby is, described Sorsby like this, saying, he's an excellent, easy thrower with the ability to make every throw. Big, good athlete, can go off schedule, can rush for touchdowns in short yardage or goal line situations. Lots of highlights. Would like more consistency, but a first-round talent for sure. One more team executive noted that Sorsby is a good game manager and decision maker with an above-average arm. I'll say this. We know the Cardinals need a quarterback. We don't know what's going on with Jacoby Brissett. We don't know if he's going to start for this team. We know the Cardinals would like him to, but he's not happy with the deal. So you kind of need a quarterback for this year. You obviously need one for the future as well. We speculate and anticipate that can come in the 2027 draft class, but you might have a chance to get a first-round talent early here. Let's talk about that a little bit. And so he is a mobile quarterback. He's got a big arm. I thought that the last part was somewhat interesting, that he could be a game manager too and make good decisions. I mean, his numbers are pretty good in college football as well. You take a look at a couple different seasons for Brendan Sorsby. And the quarterback was playing pretty darn well, especially last year, right? The 27 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. Like, he's a talent. He's got a lot of traits. He's got a lot of tools. Don't know that it fits Mike LaFleur's system. Like, he's not like a pure pocket guy like Stafford was for him, or even Brissett would have been. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I like the quarterbacks that can move a little bit, be a little bit mobile, and that is Sorsby's game. So there's traits there. There's also concerns. I want to know your opinion in the comment section, and then we'll talk about how much you'd have to give up. Do you want the Cardinals to draft Brendan Sorsby? If you do, type Y for yes in the comment section. If you do not, you're like, stay away, type N for no down below. Next up, what's the supplemental draft, and what pick would you have to give up to get Brendan Sorsby? That's what we're talking about on the next part of today's show. But I also want to give a special shout-out to our good friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go if you love daily fantasy sports, and player picks are on fire right now. There's no better place to cash in while watching sports than with Prize Picks. Guys, the app's so easy to use. You just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. I love it. I play it every day, and I've got a lineup made already for the upcoming football season. It's a $5 lineup Payout is $15. I'm going to pick the more on Kyler Murray's regular season game started. I think that is not really much of a quarterback battle. He's going to beat JJ out and start more than 11 and a half games, our old friend, right? I'm also going to pick the more on Shedeur Sanders. Game started here, more than 6.5. He did that last year. Now he's quarterback 1 or 2 going into the year. So that's my lineup. You can make one just like it if you download the PrizePicks app today. And new user offer, use code HMA, and you get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Link is in the comment section and description of today's video. And that is code HMA to get you $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. So how would Arizona land Brendan Sorsby? Well, scouts seem to have been pretty high on him entering last year's draft. And Jeremy Fowler, who's an NFL insider, tells us that he's talked to some teams recently, and Sorsby would enter the draft with sizable value to teams. Several execs I spoke with over the past few weeks agree he is worth a second-round pick in the supplemental draft. One AFC executive predicted Sorsby would have a late first-rounder if he were available in April's traditional draft. So if he had gone into the draft a couple months ago, we're hearing Matt Miller from ESPN say he'd have been ahead of Ty Simpson. Just to give you some perspective. Because remember, the Cardinals love Ty Simpson, hypothetically as well. We're thinking he was a better prospect than Simpson. And again, this was a weak quarterback class overall in 2026. So outside of Mendoza, there really was not many great options. So maybe Sorsby would have been. The point is, some say he's a late first-round talent and that he would be a second-round pick in this supplemental draft to get him now. Dane Brugler, who is an NFL draft expert as well, says that Sorsby is the most talented quarterback prospect to enter the supplemental draft in over 30 years. After talking with teams, best guess is teams uses a day 3 pick on Sorsby, which is a lot better news if you're trying to get Brendan Sorsby as the Arizona Cardinals, right? Day 3, not 1 or 2. The caveat with Brendan Sorsby is, can he even play this year? First of all, there's no telling that this gambling addiction is solved, okay? If he were to get caught for gambling in the NFL, he's cooked and you're cooked. Because look what happened to Calvin Ridley. He was caught gambling. He couldn't play the entire year. The way Sorsby's been doing it, I don't know, they'd be able to play in the NFL if this continued. So it's a risk in that sense. It's also a risk in the sense that the quarterback class next year is historic. Could have some better options. And so you got to balance those two ideas. But if he could play for Arizona this season, and you've got this drama with Jacoby that's still going on, and Arizona believes in his talent, we're being told he's a first-round talent, maybe you could go for it. I would never put down a first-round pick to get him, okay? Because that's how the supplemental draft works. You know, teams got to put in a draft pick bid, and they forfeit that pick of that round the following year until the 2027 draft. I would not put a first-round pick in. The Cardinals' first is going to be pretty good as well. A second's even pushing it, you know. But if you get him for a third, hey, that's a pretty good deal. However, would the Cardinals do that? Well, to be honest, Cardinals really do like Carson Beck for some reason. They love him. And they also are really interested in that 2027 quarterback class, which Sorsby would have been a part of. But there's guys like Arch Manning, guys like Dante Moore that maybe appeal to them a little bit more. CJ Carr, right? You could actually end up having better options because the Cardinals will have, you know, if we were calling it right now, probably top 3 pick in next year's draft to get whoever they want. That's why I'm saying I would balance the idea of the value, what you give up, and the upside of Brendan Sorsby. Maybe be able to get a guy who's a first rounder next year, but you can get him for like a third this year. Now that's pretty good. Does feel like Sorsby's more of a next year quarterback though for a team that is looking in the future past this year, not this year's answer, right? And the Cardinals, weirdly, is that their timeline? I mean, they're trying to draft a quarterback in 2027. This might be more of a team that's going to have a lower pick in 2027. I'll give you some names. Buccaneers are maybe looking past Baker Mayfield. Maybe the Texans decide they want to move on from Stroud. You know, the Vikings. They've only got Kyler on a one-year deal. I would look at teams that are Eagles are a dark horse too. I would look at teams that are looking for a quarterback solution next year and won't have as high a 2027 pick. The Cardinals, in a weird way, might benefit them to just stick it and pick in 2027 with their high pick. Something to think about when talking about Brendan Sorsby. But let me know in the comment section what round draft pick bid you would put in for Brendan Sorsby. Are you giving a third, a second, a first? Or are you way down lower, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or none at all? Don't let them happen. I will mention if Brendan Sorsby, if no teams put in a bid, he does become a free agent, free to sign anywhere. Think about that too. But that'll do it for today's show, everybody. Had to give you those major updates on Brendan Sorsby. If you want to be the smartest Cardinals fan in the room, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is the place where I'm going to give you all the news you need to know around the NFL that impacts Arizona. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.